Well, here we are, week 10 of cis204, Unix shell scripting and processing. Unix shell scripting and utilities. And we're processing awk. This is part 3 of week 10. And we left off with a really odd duck thing, and goodbye cheese. We had this awk Mary printf, and we were having fun making the printf work. Remember, we had this, and it was doing this, giving us this fatal, not enough arguments to satisfy the string. And if I go back up here and look at this, notice in this I did not have the comma at the end of this printf string that would allow me to do the substitutions. I need that comma for the substitutions to work. So there are the commas. It works. Let's move forward. So earlier we did, we looked at that Hemingway-Jones tab issue last week. We had to specify the maximum length of a field and what type of contents it is. So here we are with the ability to use printf. We can define the length of the string, and we can justify it to the right or to the left, depending on if you use the dash in front of the field size and the string for strings. So remember what I said as we were going through this thing and we were looking at these wonderful errors. Fatal, not enough arguments to satisfy format string, and it says it ran out for this one, which would have been the first string we were doing. That would have been the first substitution. Why did it run out? Again, nothing was defined because that comma was not there. Now, it took me a while to figure that out when we were going through this. I wanted to show you some of the fun of dealing with these error messages. But in the grand scheme of things, error messages come in various qualities. grep doesn't give you much. If you run grep and it doesn't work right, you can do an echo $? And it'll give you a 1 or a 0. That's all it'll do. It doesn't spit out any error messages per se. So grep gives you the chevet of error messages. Basically nothing. Now, is grep not useful because of that? Absolutely not. grep is incredibly useful because it does give you an or a 1, and it can be used to test. But as far as its error messages go, it's just, basic transportation. What about sed? Well, sed's a little better. Sed actually is kind of like the SVT Contour. It's a mid-sized car with an okay engine and sticky tires. It gives you a little bit better error messages than grep, and it certainly is more satisfying to use when you need to find out what's going sideways. You get at least something to work with. But the king of error messages is awk. Awk will tell you exactly where the thing is going sideways. You just have to be able to read what it's telling you. In this case, it says, fatal, not enough arguments to satisfy the format string. And then it tells you which one of these strings it was looking at when it failed. So it told me that this first substitution I wanted to do, where I wanted to stick the output of $1 into the first field into this -15 string substitution, it couldn't find what to substitute. That's what this ran out for this one means. So you get plenty of information out of awk. It is a good set of error messages. Here is a set of error messages that came out of awk. Awk print $1 data file. It says there's a syntax error. Well, what do you mean, syntax error? Well, let's take a look here. Let's run this. Let's make sure data file is here. Let's run these things. Yep. Yeah. Come back here. Okay. Let's do this. Copy that in here. Print. Syntax error. Well, why would I get a syntax error on that? Well, maybe I misformed the thing. Okay, so let's take a look here. Yeah, this is better. So here I've got that square brace and it's finished off with a curly brace. That'll work. Nope. Doesn't like the square brace, and it doesn't like the fact that that square brace is closed with a curly brace. Okay, well, what happens if I make it two square braces? That'll work. You know, I'm putting that action inside of braces, right? Nope. Doesn't like the fact that you're starting that with a square brace. Okay, well, what happens if I do this? That'll work. So, get some more information here. So in the chapter 6 we have this employees. Let's make sure that I've got that. I'm in the right spot. Let's clean this up and we'll go here. So we're going to print the first field and go from there. Prints the first line, right? Okay. Now look for Sally and print fields 1 and 2. Sure enough, found it. Did it exactly what I wanted to. So let me do this. What the heck is this? This is file systems that are greater than 750,000. So give me a DF and pipe the output of DF into awk and look for anything where $4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now everything here under the available is greater than 750,000. Okay, let's try that with one more 0 at the end of this. There we have just 2 of those are available. OS home and root. Interesting. So let's try this. We'll do this and we'll look for employees, right? Okay, give me just a second here. Copy that in. Let's clean this up first. Paste that. Employees. Okay. Invalid character. The character in question is this odd duck question mark. Why? Well, again, it's Microsoft getting in the way of things. Okay, let's get these cleaned up. It's going to take a second or two here. We'll get these cleaned up, and then we'll take a peek at this and how it works. So what's going to happen here is this. It's going to look for Sally. It's then going to perform an action. So it works on a pattern and then is going to perform an action. The action is it's going to print name. It's going to then substitute in $1 and $2. Remember, this doesn't mean anything except that it makes the command more readable. This is what puts the white space between Sally and Chang. So then it prints a new line, and then it is going to print the ID, and that will be whatever is in field 3. Sally Chang, ID 1654. Okay, that worked. Okay, let's look at this one. Copy that, paste this into here. Again, we're going to have to fix up this Microsoft nonsense. But that's easy enough. So, name Tom, ID is, notice what happened here. Everly Man, that got skewed. So how can I fix that? Let's do this. /T, right? But why did it print more than 5? Well, don't know. Let's try that. Actually, if I have that set correctly, I don't need that. So, give me 10. Now it printed the whole string with Everly Man, but even though I told it was 5 characters, it still printed the entire string. It found everything in $1. It did not restrict that. Okay, let's try this. What does this do? This is going to print the number of records. What is NR? NR is a built-in variable in awk, number of records, and it's going to print the entire line. Record 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of that file. Interesting. Okay. So, let's do this. What's going to happen here? It's going to print the entire line, and it's also going to tell us the number of fields, NF, which is another built-in awk function. So how can I make all of this work at once? Well, let's do this. There you are, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then 5 fields, 5 fields, 5 fields, and 5 fields. Cool. Well, that works. What about this? What am I doing here? Would you believe that what I'm asking it to do is to find the log name that we're currently using, and then print field 1, field 2, and field 5 from etc password. 1 will give me the log name. 2 will give me the password. And 5, I believe, will give me the username. And in this case, it didn't do anything. So let's do this. So it found it. Okay, let's come back here and do this. I know why that I was actually asking. Let's see what happens. Yep, nope. So let me what I was attempting to do was I was saying stick your own log name in there, and I was using HTML syntax to say log name. Okay, here we go. How's that? Okay, the X is the password. X represents that there is a password. I think maybe a better field to find would be $3, which is my log ID, or my UID. So, okay, that kind of worked. Let me clean that up, and we'll do it again. So, I can use awk almost like I can use grep, except with awk I can have it print specific fields. Grep will give me the entire line. And in fact, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look. Go back here and do this. So, there it is. Grep, hbecker3, right? etc password. Hey, it does the same thing, except I don't get the fancy colors. Okay, so why use awk? Well, awk can get me the specific things I'm looking for. So let's do this. Let me make sure that that awk file is there. Awk file is there. What's contained in awk file? Oh, okay. That'll work. Let's try that. So in this case, I'm asking awk, hey, grab the file awk file and run it against the file employees. Tom Jones. There's Mary. Okay, did exactly what I asked it to. I said, when you find Mary at the beginning of the line, print hello Mary, and then print $1, $2, $3 of every line in the file. Notice that's two actions. This action here, and then this action. It found the Mary, and it also printed 1, 2, and 3. Two separate actions. One file. Okay, that worked. Interesting. That could be very useful, as a matter of fact. Let's try this. In this case, give me the $1 when it is equivalent to Bill. I've got a Billy Black. That worked. Okay. What's going to happen here? Look for an N or an S at the beginning of the line in data file and then print that first field. There's the N, there's the S's. Worked. Okay. What about this? Well, in this case, look for something that doesn't begin with an E in field 2 and then print $1 and $2. Well, wait a minute. Let's try this. That doesn't have an capital E. So I've found the NW, SW, SO, NO, and CT when I look for anything that does not have an E in field 2. And I found a WE, SE, EA, and NE when I look for anything that does have a capital E in field 2. This is the not, and this is the equivalent. In this case, if it contains. Okay, that worked. So let's look for this. And let's clean this up a bit. So in this case, I want to look at $3 and look for a Joel at the beginning of the line in data file, and I'm going to print $3 and the following. And I better clean up these Microsoft quotes. Joel is a bum. Worked. What happens if I do this? $O. Joel is a bum, Northwest Joel Craig. Worked fine. Exactly what you expected it to do. So, we did this. We can build a command. You can have an awk file. You can create a file called test.awk and then add the following to it. So this is just that hello Mary. And then run an awk-f test.awk. Let's look, see what we have in here. We don't have a test.awk here. But let's look at this cheap awk. There it is. Just a comment in there that says it's an awk script and it says hello. Just do that. So it works. We know it works. Awk-f, cheap awk, employees, right? There it is. Mary, hello, Mary Adams. Cool. Did exactly what you wanted it to do. Okay, and when we get ready to do this in class, we are going to look at DC underbar area, underbar Starbucks, underbar R2.CSV, and we're going to look for some field properties, and we need to deal with this field separator. And we're going to build something that will give us the store ID number, store name, address, city, state, and zip. So that's it. The end of part 3, week 10. cis204 Unix shell scripting and utilities. And there's more to come.